Welcome everybody to the Club Growth Café. Today we have Karina Castella. She will be interviewing Marco Ambrogio. Karina was the division director last year, so she has a lot of experience and she has collected probably all the problems, the issue, the questions that club officers may have. And Marco Ambrogio is an area director this year, so he will be targeted for these duties, questions, and so on. But in real life, he is also a creator of business success stories. So I'm very curious to attend this Club Grow Café, to listen, to learn from you. The topic is the guest to member journey. And I leave the stage to you both. Thank you, Yoko and Yafit, for participation.
Thank you very much, Francesca. Thank you for giving us the stage. And I'm absolutely enthusiastic and happy to see Marco Ambrogio again, who was already consulting me very well. So I was consulting him for 2 years ago on the problem of disappearing clubs, building the membership, and I was also very impressed by his approach. I'm happy that he can share some of his experience with us here and with the broad audience, which will fortunately watch this recording. So dear Marco, my very first question for you. What was your very first guest to member journey? And something that really triggered your decision then to join Toastmaster International?
Yeah, thank you, and good afternoon. Actually, whatever probably we will be watching in the morning, the evening, but anyway, it's good afternoon right now in Central Europe. Yes, Karina, that's a funny question because the first guest journey that I actually experienced was mine when I became a member, and it was very interesting because it was in the club in Malta. I tried to get in touch with the club. It was a bit difficult to get information. Then finally they told me where the place was. I went there and I was late because time in Malta is a bit flexible, but not at Toastmasters. You need to be there on time. I didn't know that. So when I finally managed to join the meeting, I did not understand anything that was going on. I thought Toastmasters was all about improvising because they asked me to stand up there on the stage and answer a question. And I thought, this is fun. This is what it is. I don't know. I had no idea what Pathways was, what was, different projects and prepare speeches and evaluation and so forth. So it was a bit of a rough journey. Obviously, I was very motivated to become a member, but it took me more than 2 months even to get to understand what you call it, application you have to fill in and what is required, the payment, etc., etc. A lot of things that actually a guest will actually encounter when he wants to become a member. So that started the idea of creating this guest to journey mapping. Yes.
Fantastic. So I understand it was difficult to find, it was difficult to understand what's going on, and it's also inspired you to make it easier also for future members and to harvest future members, putting a kind of a strategy how to approach and facilitate this process. So tell us something about it. So what is your perfect recipe on it?
Well, it's not a perfect recipe. There are many recipes, but actually this one works. I was VPM a few years ago at the club. We applied this system. Then when I was president, we continued to use it with actually very good success. I'll give you some numbers as well so you can kind of like see for yourself. But what we did was this. We analyzed what happened to someone until they become member, right? And it's not that a member magically appear at the club and take on all the roles and start working on pathways, whatever. First, they are guests. Meaning they take a commitment to come for a meeting, maybe in person or online. So they actually take a commitment to spend 2 hours with the club. That's the first step. So in the ideal map of the guest to customer to member journey, the idea is who is in charge of attracting people to become guests. This is the VPPR role. So the VPPR role is very clear. Unless you have a different arrangement within your club, VPPR is in charge of creating attention, not of creating members. So creating attention in the outer world for actually people to become guests, not to become members. This is a big thing to understand. The first step is to become a guest, to attend at least one meeting. then the VPM comes into action, because when a person takes this commitment needs to be honored. Meaning, if I'm going to spend 2 hours, I know nothing about Toastmasters, then it's the VPM role. The minutes a new person step a foot into the room for the meeting or online, then is the VPM taking action, right? And this means that from that point on, you only have basically two way outs. Either the guest becomes a member, or is not interested, is not for him, is not for her, whatever it is, and they will kind of like fizzle out and never show up again. So the idea was that really to understand what happened in this period when someone comes to a meeting, what this person is experiencing, and how you can improve. Not improving by convincing people to become member, but really trying to make the best case for Toastmasters. So whoever is the guest, they have the best view of the club, and they can really make actually an educated decision. This is the idea.
Excellent. So if I sum up this, you advise us to make first a good track of membership experience, starting from the guest, just to really focus on this. This is very important. And also to put in charge VPPR and expose his role to this. And also, I love this, and you said create attention, to just make it urgent for the people that they need to do that, and they need to be captured, and they need to, at the end, as you say, to come back.
Yes,
if I can follow much more on this role of VPPR and VPM, how to start? What to start with? You are now, practical advices now for the next meeting for VPR and how they speak together before.
Yeah, it's very simple. Any club can do it. You have to start by doing some maths, because you have to look what happened in the past. How many members did you have last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago? Was it 25, 30, 35? That's already kind of an indication, because if you used to have 35 members, now you have 25. This shows that there is something that is not really going the right way. Once you understand what is your target, you can actually start understanding how many guests you managed to convert into members. So if last year 65 people visited the club as guests and 10 became members, you can just do 10 divided 65 and you see what is the percentage, right? So if you say you convert on a 10% rate, it's very simple. Every 10 guests, I get a member, and you want to get 10 new members, basically you need 100 guests. So now you have a target for the VPPR. We have 20 meetings in the next 4 months. You need to get me 5 guests per meeting. Now you have a specific target, because otherwise the VPPR doesn't even know exactly what he or she is supposed to bring to the club, how many guests, because this is a very simple math. Any club can do it. I know it's a bit difficult to dig numbers in the Toastmasters platform, but you can still get those numbers, right? Or you can talk with the VPPR and the VPM from the previous XCOM and just get this information. Start tracking down what happened, right? Once you do that, now you have some idea of what you need to work with. Maybe 2 guests is enough, 2 guests per meeting. Maybe you need 10, maybe you need 20, who knows? It also depends how many meetings you have scheduled. So this also helps you into the planning of the meetings, because without meetings, you don't have opportunities for anyone to experience the club. So the chances of getting new members is really low. For example, we are in the middle of October. From now to Christmas, how many meetings you have got scheduled in your club? 5, 6, whatever it is. Those are the opportunities to get new guests. That's it. And that's where the journey starts. You don't get guests, you don't get members. That's very simple. You can't skip that step.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. So just tracking your own statistics. And I would add also, what do you think? We should also look at the number of people attending the meetings. Some clubs have so many members and suddenly there are only few of them coming, but they still keep their membership. So attendance, statistic of losing the members, retention ratio, all this belongs, I guess, to this. But there's one thing that I was thinking at the very beginning, to have those guests. Today, we do it so very differently as we did many years ago. It was word of mouth. We're asking people to attend our meetings because we knew someone. And today, the young people, especially young generation, which went through COVID, which is completely digitalized, and they are looking at the different social media. So could you help the clubs struggling to find those guests first attending the meeting? How can you use different social channels to harvest guests?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So this we get into the VPPR role. That is really what the VPPR does, is to create a strategy for attracting guests. Because that, I repeat again, VPPR doesn't make members. It just attracts guests to come to the door. Imagine when you go in one of the tourist city and there are these people outside the restaurant trying to bring you in, they won't cook for you, they won't make your food, serve your food, they'll just give you the interest to come and sit down at the restaurant. This is the same idea. So how do you do it? Well, we have a lot of digital tools available. Again, each club can start to understand in their own demographic, in the area where the club is located, what is the most common tool that everyone uses? Is it Facebook? Is it Instagram? Is it a website? I give you a little tip that works magically and no club is doing it. Register your club for free on Google Maps and then ask some member to give a review. Just 4 reviews will put you on top in your area when people on Google Maps are looking for public speaking. It's very easy. No one does it. Just four reviews, they'll get you on the top. And Google Maps is very popular also because normally when you search on Google, Google gives you different type of results. I believe you know that. Some are paid for. Then there are the free one, the organic traffic, and there's always the top on the Google Maps results. So this is very important. Just you write public speaking Malta, we come on #1 on Google Maps, and it's free. You don't pay for it. You just have to register and just put some review over there. So get 4 members to help you to put the reviews once you register your club.
That's excellent advice. I heard about it very lately, and I was surprised what Google Maps has to do with marketing. I think many clubs don't know this. What about using Meetup and having a website, a club website? This is just something that maybe you can also give us advice. How important is it?
Yes, thank you for the question. There is Meetup, there is Eventbrite. There are different platforms to kind of like create events that you publish online. Again, it's based on your location, because there are places where Meetup is very popular. There are other places when it's not. And again, we are all volunteers. The VPPR doesn't have the time to play on all the platforms. So you need to kind of like take look at the priorities and just use those one. You can't cover all. So if it is Meetup that works in your area, you have some good experience with that, then as a VPPR, go for it. If you don't, you prefer Facebook, you can also create events on Facebook, or it is Eventbrite, or you want to have a website. Whatever it is, just start small, take one channel and just try with that one and try to be consistent, right? Try to plan in advance. You should have at least the next 3 months meetings mapped out, right? This is very important. There is another trick, which is like get people to register on your website if you have one, and you can actually connect them to the Google Calendar. So if you have a club Google Calendar, which is free, they also get it. So they start seeing the invitation for the meeting popping up, which is something, again, is free, and it's a little bit of a kind of a tool that works very well to remind people about the meeting. And another thing, which is very important, when a guest comes to a meeting for the first time, you need to follow up. You need to have a strategy to follow up. Don't just say, I'll get back to you. I will send you an email. I will WhatsApp you. Whatever is your means to communicate with that guest. Now, after the first meeting is over, time is ticking. Because if that guest doesn't become a member within 30 days, 60 days, chances are he'll never show up again. You can even get to the point when you know how many days it takes for a guest to become a member, because we did that at Toastmasters Malta. We actually got very down to be very precise. It was between 35 and 45 days. So that'll give us another idea of how to actually focus on the guests that were most likely to become members, to kind of, again, try to use our resources as much as we could. So try to do that. Understand that. I'll send you an email tomorrow. Do it tomorrow. Don't do it in 2 days from now, because you promise something, do it. And here I'm talking about the VPN. Try to decide, maybe you send an email 24 hours after, and maybe an email by the end of the week. That's what you do it, right? If you promise to do it, just go ahead. Don't forget. Because then people say, I thought I was going to get an email, I didn't, so probably they're not interested in having me as a member, whatever it is. It doesn't show that the club actually is actually appreciating the time the guest put into coming to a meeting.
So you would use the function of VPR role of VP of Vice President of Membership to
this is VPN,
this is just the VPN. And what's doing VPR at the time?
Yeah, VPR is looking for new guests. If you look at it as a sequence, the journey for the VPPR, the journey ends when the guest steps in the club for the first time. Then is a guest. Before is a prospect guest, let's call it like that. So from that point on, the VPPR is not interested anymore into the guest. That's up to the VPM to convert. VPPR can go and get another 5 guests for the next meeting, right? So again, for the VPPR, at the end of the meeting is planning for the next meeting. How do I get 5 guests to the door? If that is your number, maybe 7. At Toastmasters Malta, we had a goal of getting 62 members, and we started at 21. And that meant we needed 15 guests every meeting. And we actually did that. We started having 18, 20 guests, 21 guests, 16 guests. And by March, so it was from June, from March, we were tracking this, we were at 42 members. And we still were getting like about 30 to 40 guests every month in three sessions per month, you know. So we were going to get 60. Then something happened. We had to go online for a pandemic, right? And what happened was that we had a big drop because suddenly people that wanted to be on stage live, they were not interested in being online. So we had to change what kind of guests we were targeting, because yes, that type of people did not have a solution for the time being, but there were other people who wanted to learn to be better online because suddenly they had to keep working online. So we started targeting a different group of guests, of potential guests. And guess what? The year after, we dropped again to 25 and we went up again to 42 with the same system that works also online in a hybrid mode, you know. So as I said, just do the basic, because it doesn't mean we are volunteers. The rules of marketing don't apply. They do apply. They are fundamental, right? Before someone becomes a client and buys your product or service, they need to understand, they need to connect, they need to engage. So they need to check it out first. No one just buy because they decide that they like your product. First, they want to have some contacts, right? This point, touch point. A meeting is a touch point. I'm investing 2 hours to check you out. Maybe I drive 30 minutes to the place. So now it's 2.5 hours that I'm investing of my time. So what do I get back? This is the idea. Very simple rule. Very, very simple. Nothing complicated.
Excellent. I think you brought the point of this duality, choosing online and switch into meeting in person. All clubs went through, so they should not be afraid about it. You always find people that those will be different target groups, of course, as you said.
Absolutely.
Very point.
Let me elaborate on that, Karina. It's very important to change the. I remember at the time we had to change the narrative of the club. People complain, I would like to be a member, but I'll wait when you're back live. Say, okay, I don't need to talk with you right now because I've got nothing to offer. It's like you want to eat pizza and I only serve sushi. I'm sorry, this is not the restaurant for you, right? So we started looking at other people. We ran Speechcraft, specifically targeted to the IT industry in Malta, because every IT manager was working from home and they loved it. We got a lot of heat because of that, you know. So it was a different audience, completely different. In fact, some of those people, they are still members right now. They work in IT. They take online meetings all the time. You know, they like to learn how to get better, be better online. So it was the perfect target for what we had to offer. Each club is different from the other. You have your unique, what you call advantages, and you should promote those, right? Whatever they are, because it's not true that all the clubs are the same. All the clubs are different. And sometimes in the same city, you have different clubs. So for a guest, how do they decide? They need to get to know. They need to get to understand what the club stands for.
So what is your unique, maybe we still have time, 2 questions. What is your unique world of advice in your role, in your past role as a VP in your club?
Well, it's about making a personal connection. So if you're not available at the meeting, you need to have, again, as a VPM, your own team. So someone speak, right? And don't just say the members can talk to you. You have to prepare a little bit of a path also for that, you know, because when someone gets to a club and they don't know anything, don't start bombarding them with pathways and what is feedbacks, and you know you can do this, because they don't know. When someone comes in a new place, think about you. When you go in a new place, what is that you want to check out? You want to understand if the place is safe, if the people are nice, and if you find someone that you can relate to. That's really how it is. You go to a party, you don't know anyone. You try to see if the people are smiling, what they do. So my idea was a VPN, make it very personal. Someone comes, they want to spend 2 hours with the club, you are there, give them the VIP treatment. That's really what it is about. Even when you follow up, write them a personalized email. Just, you can prepare a draft and change a couple of lines, you know, so make it relevant for them.
So you have to have enough empathy, like people, approach them, talk to them. I also appreciate it always when I visit a new club. that people approach me independently who I am, if they know me or not, that there is this personal touch of communication. And that is exactly what is holding us to come back, what makes this connection.
Yes, exactly. Karina, you really touch on a point. As a VPM, you should tell all the members, when a guest come, I will introduce the guest to you, right? Or to you, whatever. So when the guest tells you, well, I work in IT. Well, wait a minute, let me introduce you to John, because John is also in IT. Already there you have a connection. And it doesn't have to take a long time, but just at least for the guest to understand there is someone like me here. Because we are human. We go, as I said, we go in a place we don't know. We want to see if something looks familiar. That's it. We're already scared. Some of the guests come because they are afraid of public speaking, right? So don't get them extra kind of like afraid of the situation. Show them something that is actually simple. People that talk their language, whatever, you know, it's always easy. It's always possible to find at least one member that can connect to a guest, right? And then already you went over a big hurdle, right? You make the community be safe, open, and welcoming.
Yeah, VPN is a great connector. This is the
yes, that's what you have to do. Yeah,
and,
you need to like talking to people.
And to finish our interview, my last question, what are the absolute deal breakers and not to do from your point of view? What would you say to pay attention, just beware of this kind of behaviors as a officer or when you observe something? What do you have to say from your experience about it?
Well, my personal 3 things: never talk with a guest about pathways, never. It's too complex. They don't, no, never do that. Never talk with a guest that just come one time about how much it is to become a member. No, you can tell them, I'll send you an email with information. And if you are interested, write me back and then we'll talk about membership. Because when you go in a new place to buy something, what do you want to know? How much it costs and when I can get it, yes or no. That's it. That's finished. After you get that, automatically your brain switch off. Now you got the information. So it's not because the numbers can scare people or whatever. It's just that you need to create this connection. If you are for the first time in a new place, how can you decide if the membership is for you or not? If it's too expensive, if it is the right price, maybe it's too cheap. What do I know? So if they insist they want to know the price, tell them, listen, I'll send you an email tomorrow. If you're interested, write me back. You're already taking another 2 touch points with the person. This is marketing, right? If I tell you the price, I've got nothing else to tell you. So no pathways, no price. And the third thing, don't try to explain them how the club works in 5 minutes, because if they are not listening anyway, no one listens, right? So forget. Just be welcoming, smiling, and ask them how they're doing, or maybe why they're here. That's another good thing. Now you have a reason to follow up with them. You told me you are here because you want to be better at speaking in your job. We can help you this way. You already got a point to talk to them.
Fantastic. I'm absolutely convinced that with your charisma, energy, and excellent strategy, you can harvest plenty of members. And thank you very much for such insightful advices that you have shared with us.
Karina, before we close, something very important. I mapped the system out and I created a page on my website.
That's what I wanted to ask. How can we reach out to you on how could you share something in more formal form that people can take away and have a guidance material?
Yes, the entire system is available for free for all the Toastmasters members. So I will put the link. If I can share it with you, you can put it after, whatever it is.
Maybe if you can share on the screen, it would be the most visible, because I don't
I think I can
see chat.
Yes, if you give me 2 seconds. Here I copy the link. So let me copy this, control copy, and I'm gonna paste it here in the chat. You mean? Yes, I can do it in the chat over here. Here it is. Let's see if this works.
Meanwhile, Yoko and Yafit, do you have some questions?
I have 2 very quick questions to Marco, if I may. Marco, what was the basis of a calculation of coming up to 30 to 35 days of the members, the guest becoming a member? Is it from the first day guest visited the club to actually submit that membership application form? That's my first question. And maybe because of the time, I should look it up by Google, but I wasn't sure about how this Google Calendar works with the website.
Okay, thank you for the questions. No, this was from the first time they will come. So let's say the meeting is tonight, a guest comes for the first time. that's when we start counting, right? And then we see what happened. What we discover is that if a guest will come tonight and will not show up again after 45 days, I think it was, most likely they will not become a member. But if that same guest will come back within 2 weeks or 3 weeks or within a month, we knew the chances that he would become a member was like 65 or 67%. So it's just about understanding the days it takes. And then we started tracking. It takes a few months. You have to get on new members and see, okay, this new member came the first time, the 1st of September, he became a member by the 20th of October. There you have it, 50 days. The next one became member the 10th of December. The first meeting as a guest was the 1st of November. Again, 60 days. So now you know what you've got to play. Because again, you got from now until June to get to your goal for membership. So you have what, 8 months, 9 months? You need to understand how long it takes. Because if you find out that it takes 6 months to get a new member, you need, whatever new member comes for a meeting in October will become a member in 6 months from now, meaning in April. So how much you have also determine what you can actually play with. It's very simple. Again, it's a marketing rule. It's nothing new. We're not inventing anything. I place the link in the chat. Over there, you get the entire system for the VPN to communicate with guests. This was done actually solely by emails. No phone calls, no WhatsApp, nothing, just emails. So I put there the 7 steps. It was called the 7-step system or guestership system from the fact that we were actually doing a stewardship for the guests.
Thank you. This is a beautiful website.
Sorry?
We won't see the chat. We won't see the chat in the film, I think. So maybe we can add this if you are able to share the screen.
I don't know. Yes, I can do that, I guess.
Or just to show this link in the way that people can see it in your background.
Because it's not in the chat. Okay, let me see if I can do that. Yeah, probably I can. Let me do it very quick. Let me take it like this. Okay, yes, I can do this. Okay, share screen. Yes. In a minute, share screen share. Yes. This is the system. So you can read each steps is number. So actually, this is the first. It tells you how to kind of follow through. Membership workflow is explained what happened here. So the VP membership is, you can read it actually. You can actually see exactly what I just described now. What is a guest? There's also an explanation. The golden rule of follow-up. Exactly, which is if you promise something, just do it. Well, just what I explained is. And then there is the full system in 7 steps, 7 communications. When the first communication is the first meeting that the guests attend. And the last one is when basically you say goodbye because they're not interested, they're not responding, whatever it is, which is also important, right? And I even put the text for the email. So if you don't want to be creative or you don't know what to write, you can actually copy them there. I also put a couple of extra information about pricing, right? How to talk about the membership cost and how to send information as well.
It's fantastic that you share this website. That's
it's
great
free.
that we can see this because
this
it's
is free.
So powerful. So everyone can see it's marcoambrogio.com, very easily to remember. And I would like, I haven't seen your page for a while, so I will be absolutely
check
good
it out,
with this as well. Thank you very much.
Very good. Yeah, no problem. Yoko, you had a question about Google Calendar. Yes, you can create for free a public Google Calendar. I'm not going into details because it takes long, but you have to basically create a club calendar, and then which you can connect with the Toastmasters, the Easy Speak, so it is done automatically. And then you can create it as public calendar, and you can just invite people with the email to this public calendar. It's very simple. You can Google it. There are a lot of YouTube videos how to do it. And I believe for the integration with Easy Speak, it's free. So you just have to get some piece of code and put it there into Google Calendar.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I have a question. It's also a comment, I guess, because you're talking, Marco, about 60 days. And I find that, at least in my club, because I don't know in all of my clubs, I belong to Jerusalem. If the guest doesn't become a member after the first or second time, that's it, I lose it. So, because you were talking about 45 days and 60 days, and I'm thinking, if he's not there after 1 or 2, we don't hear from him again, or her. So I don't know if it's a different of culture, or if other people also have it. I don't know what it is, but for me, like, that's a very long time to calculate. But so it's just a comment. I don't know, maybe a question.
Thank you for that. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, each culture, probably even each city, they have different behavior. People behave different cultural groups. So it could be, yes. It also depends on your calendar, because if you look at summer, for example, in some clubs, they do very few meetings. So if a guest wants to become a member around July, in some clubs, it's very difficult because there's no meeting, or maybe there's one meeting in 1 month. So what do you do? As a VPM, you need to plan a strategy according to that, because maybe someone visits you in the end of June in some clubs, for example, in Italy, and then they don't have any meetings maybe in August. So what do? I want to become a member now. If I do, then there's no meeting for 60 days or something like that. So you need to kind of also, as a VPM, you need to actually be very aware of the calendar of meetings for your club, because that will make a big difference in how you plan it. And possibly, as you said, it's shorter. You said in Jerusalem is like that. So why not? There are clubs who meet every week. So that's also a different way of looking at that. So maybe someone comes tonight, they won't come next Friday, but maybe they come in 2 Fridays. So you see, you already skip a meeting, but they're still interested because they just don't know what the calendar is for that club, So that's another challenge. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Our time is up. We finish it for tonight or today or this afternoon. It depends when you will be watching this video. And now I'm going to close the recording for everybody. You can find it on YouTube, and also you can ask Marco to answer more questions with the email they will find in the web page, right, Marco?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. See you to the next Club Grow Café in 2 weeks.
Thank you.